Hello everyone, this is Jay Markham from Radiation Oncology Resources. I want to thank you for your participation in the Plan Challenge process. What we're going to do today is actually show you how to export Dicom files from Pinnacle. This is strictly for Pinnacle today, to get the files back to us. In the past, we've had you back up the plan, and it's been a very cumbersome process, and this is a very easy way to send us the plan information and the contours, or just the contours, depending on which challenge process you're a part of. So I want to thank you again for your participation, and we're going to go ahead and get started. There's a couple of things in Pinnacle that we need to set up and check before we get started, and I'm just going to open up an extern window. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to find out the Pinnacle server. All of your Dicom files are going to reside in a folder or path called Files Network Dicom, and they're located on the Pinnacle server. But if you type the command ypcat host, then it will allow you to you'll see all of your IP addresses, and also the main thing that you want to see here is you're looking for this .log host, and this is actually your server. So what you want to pay attention here is the IP address. So for my server, it's 10.110.8.4, so just make sure you write this down on your system. And the next thing that you want to do is, we can't, since it's on the server, we can't actually access that Files Network Dicom. So what I want to do very quickly is actually just make a directory on my Pinnacle system. And if you type the command pwd, you should default to home p3rtp, and I just want to go ahead and make a directory here, and I'm going to go mkdir, and I'm going to label it Dicom. You can label it whatever you want on your system, but this is just an example. And we'll make directory, we'll hit enter, and then I'll do an ls, maybe an ls more, and you'll actually see the folder here is the Dicom folder. So that's been done, that's been completed. And I also want to just look at the server. You'll need to do this first as well. If you remember, I'll just type ypcat host again, so that you know that command. But again, my IP address or your host name for this particular process, I want to telnet, I want to log in to the server. And I'm just logging into my Pinnacle server. And again, this should default to the home p3rtp directory. So pwd for present working directory, and it is. But I actually want to go to the Files Network. So I'm going to type cd for change directory, and I want to go to Files Network Dicom. This is where all your files reside when you export them from Pinnacle. This is also where all of your images, when you send your images over from a CT scanner, this is where they reside. So I'm now in that directory, and I'll just type pwd, and it'll show me that I am in the correct directory. And I'm actually going to type ls, which is the list command. And you'll notice that there's several files here. There's some CT files and some RT files, so some plan files. It's very helpful in this process if you can clean this directory out. It'll just make it much easier to manipulate and grab the files that you need. As I mentioned before, this does store your Dicom image files that come across from your scanners. So you want to make sure that you've already imported the patient and you don't need these images anymore. So just be very careful of that. So I'm actually, since I want to clean it up, it's very easy to do. Just type rm, and I'm going to do the CTs first. And you can type rmct asterisk and then hit enter. And if I do an ls, you'll notice the CT images are gone. And then I want to also get rid of these RT dose files and plan and structure files as well. So I'm just going to type rm rt asterisk. So just be very careful with the asterisk. Again, just make sure that your plans are up to date and the images have been implemented into the plan before you start removing files. And I'll type an ls again. One thing that's important to note, though, the files that we're going to be exporting, so if you want to leave the CT images, or you have to leave the CT images, these are going to be, this is what the files are going to look like. They're going to be RT files. So whereas your images are going to be CT, they're going to be a different nomenclature. So that's another way to separate the files. So now we made a directory, if you remember, for Dicom, and we've cleaned out the Dicom file, and we're ready to go ahead and export the plan. So I'm going to come over here and click on File, Export, and today we're going to do version 8 and version 9. This is version 8 export. Version 9 is a little bit different, and I'll just uncheck these just so that we can go through this process. But you want to go to the Dicom RT tab, and from there you want to make sure that you have a destination AE title called ADAC RTP _SCP. If you do not have this AE title, please contact Philips support. It's very easy to do. I think Philips is pretty good about adding this AE title, though, when they add any other vendors to your system. But if you don't see this AE title, please just give them a support call, and it'll take less than 10 minutes to set this up. So this is by setting up this AE title, this puts all of these files in that files network Dicom directory. So this is for the plan challenge, and I'm going to go ahead and select, if you are a contour challenge participant, then all we need is the ROIs. So you would just check mark that, and then you would click on transmit data. But a lot of these plans are the actual plan challenge. So we need the ROIs, the plan data, and most importantly, we need the dose. So I've selected all three, and you also want to select the prescription that you want to include, or prescriptions, and then I'm going to select transmit data. And when you click on transmit data, shouldn't take very long, and the files will be exported. And the recoverable error is fine, but everything was sent over. Plan, structures, and dose were transmitted successfully. And before we continue the process for the version 9 users, I'm just going to jump over to version 9. This is a version 9 plan. I'll go to File, Export. I'll go to File, Export, Dicom. And you can tell that this window is much different. First thing you want to do is actually select your RT plans. You do have to select a prescription. And then for your structure set, so if this is a contour challenge or even the plan challenge, I would go ahead and select the structure set. You just need to make sure it's highlighted here. And then the most important that I want you to pay attention to is this RT dose. Make sure you select dose per prescription. So this attaches the cumulative dose per each prescription in your plan. And this is very important for us to have when we evaluate your plan with the 3DVH tool. So if you just look at this screen, make sure everything looks like this, and then you would transmit data. I'm going to go back over to version 8, and I'll go back into the Unix world. So we're going to open up an external window again, and I'm just going to type ypcat host again just so you remember that command, but I want to telnet back to the Pin server because I want to go to the Pinnacle server to locate the Dicom files. And I should be in Home P3RTP, which I am. But if you remember, I need to get back to Files Network Dicom. Which is what I'm doing. And I'm there, and I'll just type PWD just to make sure. And then ls, which is my list command. And you'll notice that I have 3 files there. So these are the 3 files that I exported. These are the files that we need for ROR, and I've got a plan, structure, and dose. Very easy to do. As I mentioned earlier, I cannot access this from a Windows PC, So what I want to do is actually copy these files, and the asterisk is your wildcard, so I can copy CP, RT, asterisk, and then I want to actually send this to home, P3, RTP. If you remember, we created a folder labeled Dicom, or whatever you've labeled it, and then you hit the enter key, and we should be all set. So I'm actually going to exit the Pinnacle server and go back to my client so that we can prove that this worked. And if you remember, I have a Dicom folder, but let's just make sure the PWD, I am in the home P3RTP directory, and I'll CD to the Dicom folder again, or whatever you've named this folder, and I'll type ls for list and then enter, and there's my 3 files. So at this point the process is complete on the Pinnacle side of things, and we now want to go over to the Windows, and this is how you're going to get the files to us. So it's very easy to do. The only requirement is that you have to have a Windows PC that is on the Pinnacle network, which I happen to have, and I'm going to walk you through the process to grab these files, and then you could email them, put them on a thumb drive, do whatever you want to do with these files. So I'll just go ahead and close this. And we'll now, all you have to do is click on the Start button, or excuse me, you don't even have to do that. You can click on My Network Places, and you want to add Network Place. So the main thing is you just need to find My Network Places. Sometimes it is under Start. You just need to locate where the Network Places is. And then you want to add Network Place, and you'll notice it says FTP, which is what we want to do. And I'm going to select Next, and then I want to choose the FTP location. And under this page here, or window, you can click on View Some Examples, but the FTP, this is the format that we want, and you want to make sure that you use the Pinnacle server IP address. And if you remember, we wrote it down. Mine was 10.110.8.4, and I'll go ahead and type FTP. Now, I've already set this up once before, so it just goes ahead and defaults, and you'll notice you just want to make sure the format is FTP : / and then the IP address. You can then click Next, and then you want to log in with your Pinnacle username and password, and then you can select Next again, and you can actually label this Network Place. I prefer to call it Pinnacle Server, because that's what it is. So we'll type Pinnacle Server, and we'll select Next, and then we can actually click Finish, and you'll notice I am now on a Windows PC, and I am looking at the home P3RTP directory. So I can navigate through this window in the Windows world. One thing that's very important to note, if you ever do a presentation and you do screen captures, screenshots, image captures from Pinnacle, you can create a folder here, just like we did with the Dicom folder, and you can dump those screenshots into that folder, and then now we can access them from the Windows PC, and I could create a presentation. So that's a nice little tip as well. If I click on Dicom, you're actually going to see that I do have all my files there, and they're ready to go. And right now I'm connected to Pinnacle, and what I want to do is put these on my Windows PC. So I had just checked the files are there. All I want to do now is copy the folder, and I can place them in My Documents, and I'll select OK. And then I'm actually just going to close the FTP, close it again, and I want to go to My Documents just to make sure it's there. And you can see the Dicom folder was copied over successfully. And just to open it up, and there's my 3 files. So at this point, it is now located, these files are located on my Windows box. You could email them directly to us, which is probably the best way. These files are fairly small. The structure sets are usually large, but they're still they're small enough for email. That would be the best way. You can place them on the thumb drive if you need to put them on an FTP site, whatever you need to do to get the files to us. So if you put them on a thumb drive and then use your personal email, that would work as well. But that's it. That concludes the export from Pinnacle to sending the files to R. Again, we appreciate your participation, and we look forward to working with you and evaluating your scores with our metrics. And again, thank you so much for listening, and good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.